So basically, when after opening your Unity, this is what pops up, and this is the Unity user interface. So you can actually add more or less elements to this, but so this is where all the elements that pop up here. So you can select them here, the main camera or the direction light. So these are all the elements that are part of your scene. So this is the scene that you'll see. This is all where the project folders are and what kind of in order to search from. And this is the assets folder, which gives you into, so basically gives you this kind of view inside. So you can actually start, if you go to the packages, you see all these elements. So it's a way of organizing your software, because you'll be adding your model and lights and textures. So that's what we'll start actually doing here. So and in order to get these, the first elements that we can put here is create a new folder and put textures, and another folder could be create new folder, models. So those are things that are going to be intrinsic to your those are basic requirements that are going to be part of your scene. So once you have once you select something, you have, like any CAD software as well, on the right hand side you have the properties manager or the inspector, where you actually see what's the definition of those elements that you are choosing. And once we import, the same thing appear here. Once you select them here, if you import the model, it will have the same, that transform positions, what kind of lights, and in this case that's a light, so that's why it's defined like that. But it depends on what kind of components. So you can always add components, but we'll see further ahead how it goes. How to operate basically is left click to select things, and right click to rotate, and if you press shift, if you press the scroll wheel, if you have a middle button and a scroll wheel, if you press it, it pans, and basically zoom in and zoom out. It's the scroll wheel. Also you have, it's the same thing here on top. So this is the pan, which is basically Q for pan, W for the transform tool. So basically you basically, if you select something, that's W, and you can start moving it around. You can, if you want to make it position correctly, you can use this the position coordinates X, Y, Z. It's the same thing. So W for positioning, W for E for rotation, R for scaling, and T for kind of transform. So scale, kind of deforming anything that you might relate. So those are the main ones that you're going to do. This one is a dynamic element that it will can allow you to move or select any rotation scales, and this one is the custom tools, which you don't have any preceded. So basically you can always move around here. So as you can see, once you select the camera, because I've selected the camera, there's a preview on the camera. This preview can also mean if you choose any other object, there's nothing, because there's no tool assigned to that object. But once you select the camera, it just it will be selected on the scene. So again, the same thing goes here. Is again, if you want to select something on the trend in this, so it's going to be the T, which is anything that you might want to select. If you want to see what the camera is actually seeing, in this case, if you want to actually simulate the game, you press play, and it will come into another, open you another window and show you what's going to be the inside view, which is basically, in our case, is going to be exactly the same as our camera, as you can see. So in this case, we don't have any reference, but we can rotate. There's and we'll see what this goes to play. And if you want to stop, okay, pause, it doesn't come off, but if you want to come out of that gameplay, it goes like that. All right. So this is the brief introduction. So what we need to now import is a model. So in our case, in order to import a model, what's the best format is in order to import any kind of model, you go to File, and you can actually drag and drop, or you go to Edit Assets, and you can import a new asset. And in this case, that's how we import the model. So we go to Desktop, and what I'm going to look at is the FBX. So all softwares, Rhino, ArchiCAD, and Revit, they all export in FBX format. It's called Motion Builder, but that's the Exchange format. So also 3D Max and Maya. So it's a general common folder for animations, and that's what we actually going to use, not OBJs. FBX allows you a lot of features that OBJ gets you a general geometry, and you cannot. It's difficult to separate it. Once you import the FBX model, and I just named it FBX, but the extension is FBX itself. So once you import it, you see here in Assets already kind of imported. You don't see anything in the scene. But what the first thing you're going to do is going to drag and drop that to the folder. So you want to keep it organized. So once you go and you put it on the folders, because at the end of the project there's going to be a lot of elements attached to here. I still don't see anything, but once you select the model, you see here on the inspector already what kind of element it is. So this is what it stays as a model. There's no rig or animation or materials. So it comes exported as standard, so it's empty of anything, and it will allow you to give those get geometry in. In order to put that, you just drag and drop into the sample scene. Right? Once it's in the sample scene, you start seeing it. It will pop up into the model. So in order to zoom into the model is F. F is to zoom in to the selected elements, and so you start seeing, okay, so that's my model. Obviously it's extremely small, so the first thing we need to see in this case, before we open whatever is inside of it, again, there's a hierarchy, but if you select the top or the name, you can rename it as well. If you go and right click, you can rename everything. The same thing you can be done on the right hand side. So what you want to do is scale it up, in my case at least. So I'll put it 10 times, and then 10 times, and then 10 times for Z as well. Still a bit too small, so I'm going to make it maybe 50. And then press enter, and that will give you the model. Again, what you see, as you can see, there's no ground. Another thing that will need to be immediately placed, and for reference sake, I know there's this brown element, but it's actually not physical. But we're going to create afterwards we're going to create a plane. For that, you go here to Assets, Game Object, 3D Object. You can create a plane, and that plane will pop up, and again the same thing pops up here, and it's not an asset, so it's not imported, so it won't pop up there. So it's just an independent plane, and it's independent of the hierarchy of our model. So in the plane, I'm going to scale it up as well. So I'm putting large enough to cover the ground. Now you can see that our model is a little bit below ground, and that's what we need to place it again into. If you get lost, as you can see, you select here, press F, and press F on the screen, and it will zoom into the area that you go. So if I would zoom into the camera itself, if you go here, F, it will zoom into the camera, and in this case, it's going to be the model. So we know that the model is going to be elements. So we can also have two-dimensional views if you prefer. So sorry, that's the game view, but we're not yet. So this is orthogonal views, basically what we have. If you don't want, just click it here, just like in 3D Max, you can also click in whatever angle you want, and it goes there. So basically, I selected this, the model itself, and I'm going to put it a bit above ground. So again, you can see the Y. Actually, Y is the vertical axis in game engines. So yeah, so it increased, and you can be more precise than this if you want. But it needs to touch the ground, and that's critical. So yep. So place it 170. So I'm going to place 160. Seems that that would be the ideal one. Yep, still touches the ground, maybe even a bit more, 65, and that's done. So and then I come out of the 2D view if you want. So again, I click it here. So, but if you want to come off in this case, so you'll go into this. So basically, this is how we import a model, and now we'll start editing and working with it. Thank you.